Eric Single improvises. He fits his $2.1 billion aircraft with a folding lawn chair. Price tag, $8.88.
I got a lot of funny looks the first time we brought it out there until a couple other people tried to use it, and they said, this is wonderful. This beats the heck out of laying on the floor.
The plane itself must also adapt to stay ahead of countermeasures. It's updated with new satellite communications and other advances in technology. These are ready to go in 2001, when America faces her darkest hour since Pearl Harbor.
It takes a lot to get me mad, but it really hit me when I realized that his big-name dog food had chicken byproduct meal as the first ingredient, not real meat. I felt like they fooled me, so I switched to Blue Buffalo.
When pet parents learn the truth about big-name dog foods, they switch to Blue Buffalo. All Blue Life Protection foods are made with real meat first, plus wholesome whole grains, veggies, and fruit.
I didn't know how my dog's big-name food stacked up, so I went to Blue's website and I took the True Blue test. It was clear. Blue had everything I wanted and none of the stuff I didn't want.
Only Blue has Life Source Bits, a precise blend of beneficial nutrients. And now we've enhanced Life Source Bits with powerful antioxidant-rich ingredients, including pomegranate, pumpkin, spinach, apples, blackberries, blueberries, and cranberries. We call it our Super 7 package.
When you love them like family, you want to feed them like family. That's why I feed him Blue.
With the Super 7 Life Source Bits, Blue is better than ever. Take the True Blue test today and see how your dog's food compares to Blue. You have Medicare, and your doctor's writing you a prescription. Now you can worry a little less about how much it'll cost. Introducing the new Humana Walmart Medicare Prescription Drug Plan. It has the lowest national plan premium available, just $12.60 a month. Call Humana now at 1-877-809-0603 and get Medicare prescription drug coverage for less than 42 cents a day. Plus, fill your prescriptions at Walmart and other preferred pharmacies, and your in-store copayment is as low as $1. And there's no deductible for most covered generic drugs, which could all add up to less worry and real savings. Call Humana now at 1-877-809-0603 and get Medicare prescription drug coverage for just $12.60 a month, the lowest national plan premium available. It's about peace of mind.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't go back out through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield in the face of new war. They struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join the Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
I came down to the water's edge and saw my husband climbing out of that kayak. And this huge grin on his face. I was so overjoyed.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support.
That's kind of why this weekend's so important to me, because it's a major healing.
Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting. The war's not over for us.
Wounded Warrior Project has really helped my dad, and I love how he's changed.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
September 11, 2001. Terrorist attack on U.S. soil.
The United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts.
Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan sits clearly in America's crosshairs. But the sheer distance represents the greatest challenge yet for B-2 and its crew. Commanders deployed 6 stealth bombers for a 3-day campaign. From Whiteman to Afghanistan and back becomes the longest non-stop bombing mission in history. More than 44 hours of continuous flight. The B-2's range is only 6,000 miles, less than a 747 passenger jet. To answer the call in such a faraway place, the B-2 must rely more than ever on partners in the sky. Mid-air refueling tankers.
It's one of the tougher parts of flying the B-2 because you're flying so close to another large airplane.
On the way to Afghanistan, both pilots must take their seats each time they align with a tanker.
You have to be very precise about where you place your airplane. The boom on the tanker is steerable by the boom operator, but it's only steerable within about a 20-foot box.
A wrong move from either aircraft could be disastrous.
A lot of guys get what we call the 10-minute wanders. You sometimes lose concentration, you lose focus on that, and you'll find yourself all of a sudden wandering off your visual cues there and having to get back on.
The B-2s mid-air refuel as many as 5 times just to get to Afghanistan. But once there, they knock down the doors. The targets are few and poorly defended. As expected, their mission is over in just 3 days. But there's not long to wait before the B-2 is tapped for another combat zone. One far more dangerous.
Operation Iraqi Freedom, or Gulf War II, began in March of 2003. It was very different from the operations in Afghanistan because Saddam Hussein had a major army, a significant air force, and dense surface-to-air missiles. Even though the coalition had been flying over the no-fly zone and picking away at these air defenses, Iraq and Baghdad especially was still a very heavily defended target.
At Whiteman, there's an impending sense that something is going to happen. Pilots fine-tune their flight equipment and survival gear.
Everything feels good?
Yeah, it feels good, buddy.
Kosovo and Afghanistan taught the squadron a great deal about comfort.
Welcome to our main shop. This is our main work area. This is where we do all the equipment at. We work on helmets, harnesses, parachutes, you name it, we have it. All our storage areas.
Sergeant Dennis Spiker runs the life support room.
What they would do is they would come and we would have to issue out a long duration bag. This is strictly another sleeping cot that we're looking into. It's lightweight, really quick and easy. Urinary bags, if they need them, we call them pill bags. Basically, if they need to go pee, if they need to relieve themselves, they use a bag for that.
They take off, hit the ideal cruising altitude of 50,000 feet, and settle in. Their targets sit 19 hours away in Iraq. As they draw close, they arm their bombs and move to combat altitude, a classified height. They stealth up, charge in, and drop their bombs. This is the first night of what becomes known as shock and awe, and the B-2 delivers both. specific B-2 targets remain classified. But bombs hammer the Council of Ministries building. And the whole world gets an upfront look at American firepower. The B-2 bomb raid decimates Saddam's Air Force, but his ground forces remain formidable. And a week into the war, he catches a break. A massive sandstorm engulfs Allied ground forces fighting toward Baghdad.
Saddam Hussein saw this sandstorm as perhaps his last big chance. He thought that as the ground forces stopped, he could start to use the irregular forces to attack the rear areas and the strung-out lines.
American soldiers hunker down. They're vulnerable to attack.
Smithsonian Magazine brings you a celebration of history, science, nature, and world culture, blending rich articles and amazing photography with the expertise of the Smithsonian. Every issue is sure to amaze you. Call or go online to now4smith.com. Travel the world with Smithsonian and discover your passion for exploration. With top experts, more than 100 destinations, and 4 years of experience, Smithsonian offers the ultimate travel adventure. Visit SmithsonianJourneys.org to receive a free catalog.
This one goes out to all the fans who come out night after night.
To everyone we love.
To my very best one. Just wanted you to know. We appreciate your business. Just wanted you to know.
Oh, look at my cutie.
Just wanted you to know that I love you. Just wanted you to know.
I appreciate your work.
Just wanted you to know. Just wanted you to know.
The holiday season wouldn't be half as much without you. You don't always get to say hey Santa. When you do, say it as only you can. With personalized holiday cards from Vista. From your PC or mobile phone, pick a design you love. Add your favorite photo and tie it together with a message that's one of a kind. Right now, all cards are 50% off plus free shipping when you enter promo code HOLIDAY at vistaprint.com.
Do you love boats and the water? Are you good with your hands and looking for a great career? Check out Marine Mechanics Institute. At MMI, you'll learn hands-on on all the best marine brands, including Honda Marine, Mercury Marine, Suzuki Marine, Volvo Penta, and Yamaha Marine.
Having a good relationship with the manufacturer guarantees our students top-of-the-line products and top-of-the-line information.
At MMI, you'll master diagnosing, servicing, and repairing marine mechanical systems using the most current technology and equipment supplied by the best marine manufacturers in the world. You'll learn inboard, outboard, diesel engines, rigging, and more.
Doing what I love, being on the water, test driving boats, using boats, it's just a whole lifestyle. It's not really the job, but the whole lifestyle.
Your hands-on training at MMI will ensure you are ready to work in marinas, backyards, marine dealers, or wherever your life on the water may take you. Your new career starts your first day at MMI. Are you ready? Call now.
This is the computer ICU. It's what happens to your computer when it gets infected. Slows down. Crashes. And if you don't do something, your computer can wind up here in the computer graveyard. But it could be saved with mycleanpc.com.
Is your computer running slow? Are you frustrated with error messages, blue screens, computer freezes, and crashes? Then go to mycleanpc.com for your free diagnosis today. Then just activate the mycleanpc.com software to fix it in minutes. And computer specialists are available while you're online.
The best thing about mycleanpc.com was it had a free diagnosis.
My computer is 100% faster. You know immediately what the problem is, and the problem is solved right then and there.
Download your free diagnosis today at mycleanpc.com.
On the next episode of Terror in the Skies, when it comes to airline safety, every detail counts. A very, very small error can lead to a very, very big problem. Terror in the Skies, only on Smithsonian Channel. Smithsonian Channel. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Next on Smithsonian Channel, America's Yellowstone.
In Iraq, U.S. commanders to experiment. Could a lone B-2 attack Saddam Hussein's forces through a blizzard of sand?
Saddam Hussein thought that nothing could fly during the sandstorm, and that his elite Republican Guard armored forces would be safe.
But a B-2 can see where others cannot.
A B-2 was used to fly during the storm to use its synthetic aperture radar and check for rosetted tanks and heavy armor in one of the key Republican Guards divisions guarding Baghdad.
Synthetic aperture radar uses the movement of the aircraft to collect information from multiple points and create an image of a target. A B-2 moves in and flies high above the sandstorm. Its radar sees through the sand to tanks and control stations on the ground. The pilots identify 16 targets and bomb each one with lethal precision. They blow the Iraqi army to smithereens, and with it, Saddam's last hope. The secret science behind the stealth bomber remains the envy of the world. Even after 20 years of service, the B-2 is still one of a kind.
For the most part, the secrets of the B-2 stealth technology have been very well kept. We know quite a bit about it, and yet the real secret sauce that keeps the B-2 flying, gives it the tactical edge, remains right where it should, in the secret realm.
America taps the B-2's iconic status for another kind of mission: deterrence. The Spirit of Missouri was one of 2 B-2s that flew to South Korea in March 2013. This was a not-so-stealthy exercise to temper North Korea's warmongering.
The B-2 is viewed as the man of steel of American air power. You send the B-2 on a mission and it gets everyone's attention. This is a formidable weapon. It can carry nuclear weapons, it can carry conventional weapons, and it, perhaps more than any other single aircraft, symbolizes the might and the resolve and the commitment to deterrence that the U.S. has in the Pacific.
Iran knows as well. The B-2 is a stealth aircraft capable of carrying the 15-ton Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP. These bombs can knock out installations buried deep underground. Her stealth silenced her critics. Through 20 years of trials and triumphs, the B-2 has managed to stay ahead of America's enemies, learning from each new conflict, adapting and upgrading. But for how much longer?
The B-2 is programmed to remain in service until 2045 or beyond. But let me say that it's one rugged airframe, and as we are finding with the B-52, it's capable of flying much longer than we thought. I would not necessarily expect the B-2 to retire in my lifetime.
I think the B-2 stands alone as the most unique airplane ever built in this country. It could also change the design of airplanes for the future. The payload, it's the range, it's the stealthiness, it's all of that balanced together with all the modifications and upgrades that will keep it formidable for years and years to come.
The B-2 inspired new generation stealth helicopters that were reportedly used in the raid that got Osama bin Laden. The stealth bomber also blazed the trail for stealthy unmanned aircraft. They fly without risking the lives of pilots at just a fraction of the cost of a B-2. While the future is uncertain, stealth will most definitely be a part of it. And the airplane that set the standard was the B-2 Spirit. Still, the world's one and only stealth bomber.
More than 2 million acres, our wildlife sanctuary
tourists visit Yellowstone, they may not know that they are standing on top of an active volcano. But scientists know it. And for them, Yellowstone is one giant natural laboratory. They dig through giant walls of limestone, looking for remnants from prehistoric times, and deep into Yellowstone Lake, where, in some places, the water is so hot that people joke that you can catch a fish and cook it at the same time. This is Yellowstone, America's first and largest national park. Larger than the states of Delaware and Rhode Island combined, home to 50 species of mammals and 300 species of birds. Where more than half of the world's geysers exist, as well as the longest free-flowing river in the United States. One of the planet's greatest natural science labs and most vibrant ecosystems. On land, it can sometimes look like something from outer space, but instead it spreads the blue USA and sits atop a very lively volcano. In the early 1800s, settlers were spreading west in America. Speculators, hunters, and others arrived, tempted by the promise of uncharted territory. Wild tales make their way across the country. Tales about water that shoots 150 feet into the air, and gurgling pots of mud in the ground. Enticed but skeptical, Congress sent an expedition to Yellowstone to do geological surveys of the land. Ferdinand Hayden leads the expedition. Hayden brings along painter Thomas Moran and a photographer named William Henry Jackson. Jackson's photographs, along with Moran's sketches and paintings, capture the imaginations of Americans trying to recover in the years after the Civil War, and are instrumental in convincing Congress to designate Yellowstone as America's first national park. Signed into law by President Ulysses S. Grant in 1872, it marks the first time any national government sets aside public lands to preserve them, and sets a precedent later followed by many countries around the world. The park encompasses 2.2 million acres, spreading through small parts of Montana and Idaho, but with 90% of the park residing in the northwest corner of Wyoming. Soon, hunters and poachers arrive in earnest, decimating much of the local wildlife population. The last great bison herds begin to diminish, while other animal species are nearly eliminated. Finally, in 1900, President Grover Cleveland signs the Lacey Act, making it illegal to hunt, kill, wound, or capture birds or animals in the park. But in an effort to protect the park, directors began a program to eradicate wolves, mountain lions, coyotes, and other predators. Their disappearance caused an unhealthy imbalance in Yellowstone's ecosystem, and other animal species that once thrived in the park began to diminish. Over the years, new philosophies have taken over, and programs are in place to protect and restore native species to the park. Most notably, the return of the gray wolf. 12 years later, the howl of the gray wolf can be heard again in Yellowstone. And in 2007, the wolves were removed from the endangered species list. Today, the wolves elk, native coyotes, and moose. Yellowstone is the only place in the lower 48 states where a population of wild bison has lived since prehistoric times. They are the largest mammals in Yellowstone, the males weighing up to 2,000 pounds and the females 1,000 pounds. Much smaller in size, the pronghorn antelope is considered to be the fastest land animal in North America. The pronghorn can reach speeds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Each year, these antelopes embark on the longest overland migration in the continental United States, traveling more than 400 miles between their fawning grounds and wintering areas. Yellowstone's bears have learned to live with the human population that comes to see them in their natural habitat. Two species of bear live in the park, the black bear and its rarer cousin, the grizzly. Since 1975, the Yellowstone grizzly has been listed as threatened on the endangered species list. But in 2007, the Fish and Wildlife Service, amid protests from environmental organizations, removed the bears from the list. It is estimated that 300 to 600 grizzly bears live in the park today. For all the wildlife that exists here, it is the life beneath the surface of Yellowstone that attracts the most attention from scientists and tourists. One of the most unique ecosystems in the world, Yellowstone is home to more than 2/3 of this planet's geysers, the largest concentration in the world. From above, the park looks like steam rising after hundreds of small fires. But from the ground, one sees geysers, hot springs, steam vents, and mud pots percolating throughout the landscape. Yellowstone is an active volcano with an explosive prehistoric past. The last major eruption here was 640,000 years ago, blasting 240 cubic miles of magma into the atmosphere. Then the ground collapsed, creating an enormous crater-like impression called a caldera. Since then, there have been many smaller eruptions, and on a yearly basis, thousands of earthquakes occur here. Scientists anticipate that a volcanic eruption will take place here sometime in the future. Yellowstone rests on top of what is thought to be one of the largest magma chambers in the world. All of the geothermal wonders here are fueled by heat from a large reservoir of partially molten rock or magma just a few miles under the ground. When rain and melted snow seep down into the ground and meet the molten rock's heat, geothermal activity occurs in the form of hot springs, mud pots, and geysers. Geyser is an Icelandic word that means roarer. Most are found along the cracks in the earth caused by earthquakes. Simply put, geysers are hot springs that are constricted at or near the surface, causing them to periodically erupt, creating an impressive fountain. But the conditions required for a geyser to occur are not so simple. There are three conditions that must be met: an abundant supply of underground water, an intense source of heat, and unique underground plumbing containing pipes lined with a type of volcanic rock called silica. When the buildup of hot water under the surface causes unbearable pressure, an explosion of water and steam shoots up from the ground. The water water then returns back into the ground for the recycling process to begin again. The journey for this water can take 500 years, so water we see shooting from geysers today may have last been seen during Columbus's time.
Are you overwhelmed by paper clutter and wasting time looking for lost files? Maybe it's time to get neat. The incredible Neat digital scanner and organizer thinks while it scans. With Neat, you can scan up to 50 documents at once. The Neat software recognizes all the important information and automatically organizes it quickly and easily right on your computer. So now that shoebox full of receipts instantly becomes an expense report. That stack of business cards goes directly into your contact list. Now you can easily organize and store your bank statements, medical records, taxes, recipes, report cards, you name it. And any piece of paper becomes searchable with a simple keyword.
I really like the Neat system.
I've been using Neat for 10 years, and it just keeps getting better and better.
If I scanned something in 2 years ago, I can find it in 2 seconds.
Neat gives me peace of mind because I know where everything is. Call or go online right now and learn how you can try the Neat system for a full 30 days absolutely free. Try the Neat Desk or the portable Neat receipt scanner. That's right. For a limited time, we'll send you either our Neat Desk or Neat Receipts portable scanner and organizer free for 30 days. They work with both Mac and PC, and we'll pay for the return postage if you decide to send it back. So there's absolutely no risk.
Neat simplifies and it organizes my life. I love that.
The efficiency allows me to actually focus on growing my business as opposed to wasting time looking for things.
Having the clutter waste your time, and having Neat gives it back to you.
Call 1-800-576-7281 or visit tryneat.com. That's 1-800-576-7281 or visit tryneat.com. Say goodbye to all that paper. Call 1-800-576-7281. That's 1-800-576-7281.
Need a plane? Meet the Cowboy Pilots who deliver used planes around the world. This is the most extreme type of flying you can do. It's no ordinary 9 to 5. Who else gets a chance to do this? That was cool. No limit.
You see how it's leaking through the fuselage?
Job of men and machines.
Every plane I fly in, I expect this train to leak.
Dangerous what? Some geysers erupt as often as every 2 minutes. Old Faithful, one of the best-known tourist attractions in the United States, faithfully erupts every 60 to 90 minutes, sometimes blasting more than 8,000 gallons of water into the air. In the southwest part of the park, 200 geysers erupt from the ground. This small area is home to 1/4 of all the world's geysers, and new geysers are continuously being created. The smell of sulfur, kind of like rotting eggs, emanates from this area. But tourists don't seem to mind. Here at Anemone Geyser, they wait patiently for nature's show to begin. show is over, the gushing water recedes, and the visitors move on to see a much larger geyser. This is Great Fountain Geyser. Its eruptions are much less frequent, only twice a day. But for those who time it right, or are just lucky, they can see one of the largest geyser eruptions in the world. The twice daily eruptions here can shoot water up to 100 feet high. But a few times a year, the geyser has grand eruptions, sending jets of water 200 feet into the air. And people come from all over the world, hoping to see it happen.
We came before 9 times. That's the 10th time I stay in the Yellowstone. We hoped to see some of the eruptions of a big geyser, but it's very, very, very difficult to see an eruption.
But nature has its own schedule, and today there is not a grand eruption. In fact, there hasn't been one in months. That means one is due. Without a show. The world's largest geyser is Steamboat Geyser. Most commonly, Steamboat erupts in bursts of 10 to 40 feet, but a full eruption here rockets scalding water, rich with minerals, up to 400 feet into the air, and can last up to 40 minutes. Steamboat is unpredictable, though. Eruptions can happen 4 days apart or 4 years apart. There was even a period of 50 years when Steamboat never erupted at all. Near Steamboat is Black Pit, another geothermal feature. Here, volcanologists are collecting water from vents to measure the steam's chemical makeup.
So this is a gas bottle, and it's evacuated. It's got a vacuum, but then we also have a liquid inside it, and the liquid is a sodium hydroxide solution at the top.
The bottle has a solution of sodium hydroxide. This solution will help researchers identify the components of the steam once scientists can trap it. They connect the titanium tube to a hose that runs to the bottle, and then place the tube into the mouth of the steaming vent. Steam begins to pass through the tube and into the bottle. The steam forms bubbles in the bottle. The steam is accompanied by gases such as carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. Scientists collect and study these gases to try and interpret the behavior of the deep magma and changes in Yellowstone's active thermal systems. Change is not uncommon at Yellowstone, but when it comes quickly, scientists take note. The hottest area in the park is the North Geyser Basin. It sits on the intersection of 3 major faults and near the Yellowstone caldera. In 2003, the ground temperature here quickly rose to 194 degrees in what geologists called a thermal disturbance. The park quickly made this area off-limits to visitors. The ground here got so hot that in a matter of weeks, trees and other plant life here withered and died.
And these are basically
not the heat from a forest fire, but basically the heat beneath our feet, the geothermal heat. The best description of being here with the thermal disturbance going on was like being in an oven.
Although temperatures cool down, when scientists take measurements, the ground is still above 160 degrees Fahrenheit.
And here, temperatures are starting to rise. We're up to 24, 25 Celsius.
But if the temperature seems hot on the ground, it's nothing compared to the heat down below. The highest documented underground temperature here, measured at a depth of 980 feet, is a scorching 453.2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Air temperature is about 21 degrees Celsius.
All that heat seeps back up through the ground in plumes of steam.
Yellowstone is interesting. We have a very deep magma chamber. We have lots of rainwater that comes and makes a reservoir up near the surface. So anything that happens down in the magma, everything needs to come up, and it filters through this hydrothermal or geothermal system near the surface.
Maybe that is why the ground here has risen too. In fact, recent measurements indicate that the Earth here has swelled up as much as 4 inches. Yellowstone offers scientists a unique opportunity. It is one of the few places on the planet where they can actually peer into the Earth. Caldera is Yellowstone Lake, the largest natural freshwater lake in the United States, 7,000 feet above sea level. Since 1923, the lake has risen nearly 3 feet. But it is what lies beneath that interests this group of scientists from the University of Wisconsin. They have come to study the lake's geothermal features and the changes that nature has wrought.
We're seeing activity in places we haven't seen it before in the last 2-3 years. And that's the thing about Yellowstone. It's never boring. There's always something new and interesting happening in this lake. It's one of the gems on the planet in terms of an aquatic system.
Because of the lake's high altitude, air pressure is low, and the temperature of the lake varies with each layer of water. It is too cold and too deep to dive here. But at the bottom of the lake, like in the rest of the park, there are mysteries waiting to be discovered. So scientists create a robotic research vessel, outfitted with a video camera to survey the lake. Researchers control the vehicle from the surface. A measuring device is added to determine the amount of underground hot water flowing into the lake, as well as the makeup of this water.
When you open up an Audible audiobook, it opens up your imagination. Enjoy a steamy romance while ironing the sheets. Discover a historic battle while battling the bulge of the gym. Visit audible.com/freebook now to try one, absolutely free. Get caught up in a whodunit during a do-it-yourself project. Listen anytime, anywhere with the Audible mobile app. When you're out for a walk, learn how to climb the corporate ladder. Or bring a little magic to your minivan with a fantasy novel. With over 100,000 titles, Audible is an amazing experience that you can now try absolutely free. And just like our books, there's no binding. Our great listen guarantee lets you exchange a title you don't like for another. No questions asked. Visit
eligible for Medicare, that's a good thing, but it doesn't cover everything. Only about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. So consider an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like all standardized Medicare Supplement insurance plans, they pick up some of what Medicare doesn't pay, and could save you an out-of-pocket medical cost. Call today to request a free decision guide to help you better understand what Medicare is all about, and which AARP Medicare Supplement plan works best for you. With these types of plans, you'll be able to visit any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. Plus, there are no networks and virtually no referrals needed. There's a range of plans to choose from, too, and they all travel with you, anywhere in the country. Join the millions who have already enrolled in the only Medicare Supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP, an organization serving the needs of people 50 and over for generations, and provided by United Healthcare Insurance Company, which has over 30 years of experience behind it. Call today. Remember, Medicare Supplement insurance helps cover some of what Medicare doesn't pay. Expenses that could really add up. These kinds of plans could save you in out-of-pocket medical costs. You'll be able to choose any doctor who accepts Medicare patients, and there are virtually no referrals needed. So don't wait. With all the good years ahead, look for the experience and commitment to go the distance with you. Call now to request your free decision guide. This easy-to-understand guide will answer some of your questions and help you find the AARP Medicare Supplement plan that's right for you.
For us, there was no other option. It had to be rebuilt.
I think it sends a message that we can overcome and we can move forward.
Risk is the price of progress. Some were brave, some were not. All of them were important.
Because I've been to the mountaintop.
The lake is 20 miles long and 15 miles wide. At its deepest point, it is 320 feet deep. Surface temperatures rarely rise above 60 degrees, and the deeper one goes, the colder the water gets. Average bottom temperatures never rise above 42 degrees. These temperatures can cause hypothermia in a matter of minutes. Researchers ride along for about an hour when the temperature sensor attached to the bottom of the boat indicates a change.
We have the sonar here. These are the bubbles. The sonar picks up the bubbles. Now up in front of the vehicle. See the two streams?
The researchers stopped their boat about 5 miles from the harbor. It appears that they have found what they are looking for, a geothermal feature. They deploy the robot. The water here is 77 degrees.
These are similar to the steam vents found in the park.
You can see on the top of this rock there are plants growing. There's obviously bacteria growing here. It's a relatively productive area, which means there's a food source.
The underwater robot approaches the vent as bubbles stream out. The bubbles are created by heated gas that escapes through vents from the underground magma chamber.
I would say that's pretty hot. I don't know exactly, but we have a temperature probe on it, so we'll download the data. Yeah, on the back of the vehicle, but right in the vent, I suspect it was 40, 50, 60 degrees. In some of these vents, because there's a lot of silica, and this is used by the dive pumps in the lake. Yeah. Fresh. Yeah. What kind is that?
These 20-inch long cutthroat trout find a welcome food source in the plankton and small creatures that gather around the vents, or what some scientists call the trout jacuzzi. Native to this lake, these fish can handle some time in these warm waters, but usually stay only long enough to feed before heading out to the lake's estuaries, where they are an important food source for native grizzly bears. As researchers move the robot deeper into the lake, they make an exciting discovery. 80 feet below the surface, several pipes dot the lake's floor. These pipes are remnants of underwater vents. With permission from park authorities, the researchers collect 2 samples. A small shovel on the underwater robot retrieves their treasure.
Yeah, we're very lucky today. We got 2 this time. Pretty interesting.
The pipe weighs over 4 pounds. At its tip is a hole through which hot water once escaped into the lake. The second piece looks like it was originally pipes from 2 vents that eventually joined together. On this quest, the researchers are successful, finding clues to the changing nature of geothermal features.
It's a very active geological system, and it's always changing. And it's yeah, you could say it's kind of a living system. It changes dramatically from time to time. So we're seeing activity in places we hadn't seen it before in the last 2-3 years. That's the thing about Yellowstone. It's never boring. There's always something new and interesting happening in this lake. It's one of the gems on the planet in terms of an aquatic system.
change is the Mammoth Hot Springs area. The white walls surrounding the springs are made of limestone. At the top of the wall is Canary Springs. As the 140-degree water moves through this hot spring, calcite ice forms on the surface. This thin membrane of limestone is formed by water rising up from beneath the ground. Approximately 400 million years ago, the Yellowstone Park area was underwater. Coral reef accumulations formed the limestone evident in the park today. Tectonic movements began 140 million years ago, and a layer of limestone remained. Hot water slowly rising to the surface dissolved the limestone as it went. As the water comes out at the surface, carbon dioxide bubbles out of the water, causing a change in chemistry that results in deposition of calcium carbonate, or travertine, eventually creating Mammoth Hot Springs. Heat, water, and limestone have combined to form step-like terraces which are constantly changing. As formations grow, water may flow in different directions, creating a living sculpture. This gigantic staircase, made of limestone, is called Terrace Mountain. It is 100 feet high and 160 feet wide. In some places, the accumulation can be as much as an inch a day. The shining white terrace is continually changing. Every day, nearly 2 tons of lime makes its way to the surface at Mammoth Hot Springs. It took 8,000 years for the terrace to form. This is about 30,000 times faster than the formation of typical stalactites.
Your phone call. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. Your son has been shot. My response was, is he alive?
I just kept thinking, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. It's not supposed to happen.
It was devastating. We knew that our life was never going to be the same.
All across America, family members are becoming caregivers to brave warriors returning home from the battlefield.
There are many caregivers out there. Moms, dads, uncles, aunts, brothers, and are there 24/7. We have to make sure they're taken care of.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Wounded Warrior Project contacted me about a mother's caregiver retreat, and it lifted my spirit. It provided hope.
It was a life-changing experience to know that I wasn't going to have to face all this the rest of my life by myself.
Call now or go online with a gift of $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
They reached out to us as a family. They reached out to my son.
and they never forgot about us.
Being together with other wounded warriors, to be around caregivers for my sake, it's amazing, and just that sense of not being alone.
Our heroes are returning home, and the war may slip from the headlines, but the ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come.
Please support these guys. They fought for this country, and they come back hurt. Please support Wounded Warrior Project.
Call or go online with your gift right now.
Connie and I love having cell phones because of the freedom they give us. So why would we want to be tied down to a contract? Life's too short. And Consumer Cellular gives us control over how and when we use them and what we pay.
And compared to our old plans, we're saving a ton of money every month.
Consumer Cellular is the wireless provider for people who want affordable service without the contract.
Well, say hi to Portland for me. Same to you, Jasper.
New girlfriend?
God, never. It was just another nice person at Consumer Cellular. We had a usage alert.
Oh, so you called to adjust our plan for the month.
Yeah.
So you just saved us some money. Good call.
Thank you.
At Consumer Cellular, when you choose a new phone from the latest smartphone to a super simple one, we'll activate for free a $35 value. Call or go online, and shipping is also free. Or stop by a Sears store. Best of all, you can try Consumer Cellular risk-free for 30 days. And Consumer Cellular is the exclusive wireless provider for AARP members. So ask about your special discount.
So, what really sold us on Consumer Cellular was that they're the exclusive wireless provider for AARP members. AARP? That's a huge deal.
Want a complicated switch? Not a bit. They make it super simple. You can even keep your number. Oh, that's nice. I am so glad I found Consumer Cellular.
Yeah, me too.
Huh?
What?
Consumer Cellular, for people who want control over their cell phone service, not the other way around. Plans start at just $10 a month and will activate your new phone for free, a $35 value. Shipping is also free, or just pick it up at a Sears store. Start your 30-day risk-free trial today. AARP members, ask about your special discount. Call Consumer Cellular at 1-800-325-8347. Go to ConsumerCellularTV.com or visit a Sears store today.
Geysers, hot springs, steam vents, and mud pots, all formed by hot groundwater that bubbles to the surface, are called geothermal features. Of the more than 10,000 geothermal features in Yellowstone, hot springs are the most common. Grand Prismatic Spring is the largest hot spring in Yellowstone and the third largest in the world. It is 360 feet around and 120 feet deep. The water is more than 140 degrees. The brilliant emerald blue water looks like it is surrounded by a crown of gold. The rainbow of colors is created by heat-loving life forms that thrive here, using the minerals in the hot spring water as nourishment. Scientists believe that the thermophiles living here may provide clues to the creation of life. They are especially interested in one form of microbe here that doesn't need oxygen.
The microbes here don't need sunlight to live. They live off the heat coming from the thermal features and the sulfur. And that starts a whole chain of organisms then that live based on the volcanic heat and the minerals coming out here and don't depend on oxygen or sunlight. Therefore, it might be a good analogy to what occurs on other planets and also implications for life on our planet.
Some of the geothermal features in Yellowstone look like they came from another planet. The more popular geysers often overshadow these turbulent pools of hot, muddy water called mud pots. These features are studied closely by scientists for information about volcanic activity. Mud pots are formed when gases rise to the surface and sulfur compounds mix with water to form highly acidic solutions, so acidic that they dissolve the rocks. One researcher noted that the escaping gases cause this activity in the same way a bottle of soda will bubble over if shaken. The hydrogen sulfide bubbling up from underground is what differentiates a mud pot from a hot spring. The hydrogen sulfide, or sulfur, is what creates the infamous odor of rotting eggs here. Looking at the ground, it is easy to see the byproducts of this active volcano. But a less obvious sign is in the middle of the park, the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. The canyon is almost 1,200 feet deep and stretches nearly 24 miles. 300-foot waterfalls crash down as the Yellowstone River, the longest free-flowing river in the United States, rages through. The canyon was formed from 590,000-year-old volcanic rock. The brilliant gold color was brought out by steam and hot water that oxidized the iron in the rock. Back at Great Fountain Geyser, the wait for a major eruption, one so massive that it only occurs a few times a year, continues. But nothing happens. Tourists wait patiently, but heavy rains begin to fall, and they retreat to drier ground. Soon, snow begins to fall. Geyser eruptions are closely related to the amount of underground water nearby, so the extra water seeping into the ground may help to fuel a grand eruption. When the weather clears, the crowds return and wait. Great Fountain begins to erupt. And after a slow build-up, visitors finally see what they have been waiting for.
compressor creates hot runoff channels. Produced an eruption lasting more than an hour long and spewing 79,000 gallons of water. Smithsonian Channel, America's Lost Submarine.
Smithsonian Magazine brings you a celebration of history, science, nature, and world culture, blending rich articles and amazing photography with the expertise of the Smithsonian. Every issue is sure to amaze you. Call or go online to now4smith.com. Travel the world with Smithsonian and discover your passion for exploration. With top experts, more than 100 destinations, and 40 years of experience, Smithsonian offers the ultimate travel adventure. Visit SmithsonianJourneys.org to receive a free catalog.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say, I combined home and auto with State Farm.
It's $760.
How's this guy?
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mind is talking? Ricky!
Bundle home and auto, and you can save $760.
All right, Mama, let's get going. That time is calling my name.
Get to a better state. State Farm.
If you have Medicare, you may have questions.
Do you have the right type of Medicare Advantage health plan? Are you saving money? And are you with a company you can rely on?
Now you can get answers to these important questions in this free, fact-filled booklet, Living Better with Medicare. It's your guide to Humana Medicare Advantage plans, and it's yours just by calling
1-855-573-7063
or visiting us online at HumanaAnswers.com.
With the Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you can get both medical and prescription drug coverage from one of the nation's leading health benefits companies. And you're covered when you see your doctor or specialist, or even if you have to go to the hospital. Humana plans cover many preventive services, such as mammograms and prostate exams.
And best of all, Humana Medicare Advantage plans have an affordable monthly health plan premium, or even no plan premium in some areas, so costs are easy to budget. You can get all the facts in this free booklet, Living Better with Medicare. Just call
1-855-573-7063
or go online to HumanaAnswers.com.
With the Humana plan, you get more. Extras like a fitness center membership and a 24-hour nurse advice line. There's even a mail-order prescription service that'll save you trips to the pharmacy.
To find
find out if you have the right Medicare health plan, you need to get the facts and learn about the Humana Medicare Advantage plan. Don't put this off. The call and book are free and there's no obligation. That number again is 1-855-573-7063 or go to humanaanswers.com. Call or go online now for the free booklet so you can get the facts and start living better with the Humana Medicare Advantage plan. Just call 1-855-573-7063 or go online to humanaanswers.com.
Keep up with us at SmithsonianChannel.com. Watch us anytime on demand. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And download our free apps for iPad, iPhone, and Android. Smithsonian Channel. In HD, online, on demand, and on the go.
Smithsonian Channel's award-winning programming is now available on iTunes. Go to iTunes.com/Smithsonian Channel to download your favorite program. Introducing the free Smithsonian Channel for iPad app, a brand new way to watch, find, and explore your favorite programs. Download now on the App Store.
A spectacular discovery that may be the world's first successful submarine, invented in America during the Civil War, lost to history until now. Was it the father of all subs? New investigations are revealing stunning details about how this amazing underwater machine actually worked, and what may have caused the mysterious deaths of its inventor and crew, helping unravel the mystery of why this historic vessel vanished in the Pacific, forgotten for more than a century. Southeast of Panama City lies the stunning Pearl Archipelago and the uninhabited island of San Telmo. In 2001, Jim Delgado, a marine archaeologist, was passing by the island on a cruise ship when someone told him he should check out the wreck of a World War II sub from Japan.
It was high tide, and as I looked out, all of a sudden, I saw this shape appear in the water. When I saw this cigar-shaped, stubby little submarine, I knew it was not Japanese, I knew it was old, and I knew that it had a story to tell.
Delgado couldn't identify the wreck for 2 years. But then, a colleague sent him a blueprint from a 1902 scientific journal. The blueprint matched the shape of the wreck perfectly. The vessel's name was Explorer, the invention of a German engineer named Julius Krull.
There is Julius H. Krull, engineer, 4 Broad Street, New York, 1864.
I think we can assume quite certainly that he did the drawings, that that's his signature.
Delgado had never heard of the sub or of Krull, but he soon discovered that the wreck could be the find of a lifetime. A New York Times article from 1866 reported a little-known event at a pier on New York's East River. A German engineer had tested a new invention, a diving boat named Explorer. After locking himself inside, he and the iron machine disappeared beneath the waterline. Many thought it was a suicide mission. But amazingly, the vessel later surfaced with its daring inventor alive. The newspaper called it a successful trial of a submarine. Delgado knew that at the time, no other vessel of this kind actually worked, which could mean Explorer was the world's first successful sub. If it was, the wreck could hold a treasure trove of technological clues that may shed new light on the invention of the submarine. But there are many questions still unanswered. Why is this historic vessel lying off an uninhabited island in the Pacific, forgotten? And what was the secret of its revolutionary design?
What bothers me that this is the only surviving drawing, and you know that for every piece, I mean, for that plate, there's a detailed measured drawing that you then turned over to the pattern maker to make the wooden pattern so they could then mold it and cast hundreds of pieces that they would fit together.
These engineers, they were Renaissance men. They knew a little bit about everything.
Now Delgado is back in Panama. He's assembled an international team of scientists to investigate the wreck. They're hoping to unlock the secret of how Explorer actually worked.
This is a two-dimensional surface now. What had been 3D, so there is some distortion.
To reach the site, they have to travel more than 60 miles southeast of Panama City. Finally, Delgado spots the sub.
It's seeing an old friend yet again. There's always the fear that somehow something's going to happen. You know, that the hull has collapsed or something bad has happened. Well, the sub still has its problems. She's still here, and that's good to see.
The wreck is badly damaged, and the original drawings offer few clues to understand even its most basic technological features.
The drawings that we have for Crow's Explorer show the very basic rudiments of it as designed. They don't show exactly where the hatches are and how they work. They don't show how it is propelled precisely. They don't show how it was steered. And they don't show precisely how air and water move around to really make that submarine work.
For most of the team, this is their first glimpse of the sub.